Hello, my wonderful friends. It is I, and guess what? Well, as you can tell by the lamp, any that see my other videos, I am in my little apartment. It is, I turned the heating down. Oh shit. I'm almost at 90 degrees. I definitely need to turn this down. It's freezing, snow outside. It's not like minus 20 or anything. It's probably minus 1. I think there's a low of minus 3 or 4, something like that, or 5. But I am in a sauna. I just turned this down because it was just getting too hot. I've been experimenting with the temperature thing. So far it's still, but it might have been because I had it too hot at the beginning and it has to cool down. I broke down and bought myself, I was looking at coffee cups because now that it's getting colder and I make my coffee outside, I was looking for something that would keep the coffee hot longer, but a reasonable cup. So I broke down when I looked around at this selection, and only because of the coffee mug, I got a Yeti coffee mug because it's a good amount of size. It's supposed to hold it hot for a long time, and it is. Oh, just ginger lemon tea right now. But I'm gonna just bring something to lean on here. It's just my bed becomes a storage spot for a million things, so that has to be figured out over the next little while. There we go. I have this here, and I'm gonna probably move it. Like, it's good. It's nice to hang on to pull myself up or something, but boy, does it ever cut things in half. What I should have done was had a 2x4 up above and just not had that at all. But this was my original edge. That's why I have this here. It was going to be where the door was attached to. But I guess what I probably... Oh no, it's a different height. But it'll be something like that on the new wall. And I'll put a door on it eventually, I think. Or maybe I won't put a door on it, because now with all my blankets, the door ain't going to work anyways. So... and it kind of feels cool with the blankets. I wish I had a whole bunch of hides or something so I could be really getting into the mood and stuff, but blankets are what they are. Oh, the music turned off, and I think it was. Let's just see why it turned off. So I think my speaker went dead more so than anything. Oh, my fork and the plate. I'll leave that there for now. So which speaker is the one? Hang on. Not going anywhere. Which speaker is the one that was... That might do it. Yep. And then I can also put the two in stereo. And then I promise I will turn it down, because I got comments once that the music was too loud and you couldn't hear me. So that's just in the background. I'll just turn it down a bit more. There. So I ordered based on a friend and client who came over with one of these, speaking about it, and it really appealed to me and drew me in. It's it's called a ghostcatcher. It's a shamanic, Siberian shaman's instrument, goes very far back in history, and I'm just gonna make sure this is low enough. There. And it's used in their healing ceremonies. And I don't know, I felt drawn to it. It's small, simple enough. inexpensive enough that I could invest in something like this to pick up whenever I want to practice, to add to my healing repertoire. I'm going to just have to experiment with it. Maybe it's just for myself, privately sitting, just for an internal relaxation and cleanse. Maybe for communicating with Raven. Maybe it's for using in some larger ceremony with other people around. I don't really know yet. I just know that I was drawn to purchase it and to start practicing. The cool thing about it that I liked was you put it in your mouth and you can create all those wah-wah sounds that a jaw harp creates, only it also works with strings. And then when you put it in your mouth, compared to... Now the only thing is, the gentleman, wonderful musician in Siberia, from Siberia, I think he's in Siberia at the moment, who demonstrated this and who made it, he could just put it in his mouth and he was creating all these wah, 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 wah things, which really appealed to me. Well, watch. So far I haven't figured it out. I think I'm opening the wrong side of my mouth, but I haven't got the control at this point. This kind of works better for me right-handed, but I gotta get that figured out, and I won't tire you guys with it, but once I can do it, it should give me these cool sounds. So my initial impetus for getting it was, hey, I can play love songs to Raven and communicate with her and connect on a non-verbal level. And then secondary was, what else can I do with it? For myself, in an event, whatever. So, if anyone's interested in looking up this gentleman's work, he is a phenomenal multi-instrumentalist as well. I looked him up and I listened to a whole bunch of his solos. He also plays with all kinds of really good, well-known artists. And he plays really every instrument, and most of them you've never heard of. His last name, and that's what he goes by, is Nadishana, Nadishana, and .com. So there's the little stamp. I was blown away. Yesterday I explored him on YouTube, and holy, his percussion is phenomenal. More that sort of Doom-Becky kind of tabla type of technique. A whole range, really. But like, he played on his stomach and face. He played on a cup. He played on a bowl, on a flower pot, on a water bottle. I mean, he played on things with water in it. It just goes on and on. Like, you could just blow yourself away by following and watching him do things. I couldn't believe he was spending any of his time making instruments with such talent. But I definitely, if you guys find anything a little bit interesting about this, have a look. Look him up. Oh. New thing I've just started, bringing a cup of tea and kind of bring everything, my meal, my cup of tea, anything in, and then kind of don't leave until the morning. Although it's early, so I'm going to go out and hang out with the dogs for a bit. But I'll tell you, having a cozy little room is very, very seductive. And although it's good and bad. I felt, daytime I'm sort of build in my tough, but nighttime I'm enjoying slightly wimping out and being in the warmth. Basically a bunch of scrap wood and a bit of vapor barrier that I had, plastic wrap. Could have done it with Christmas wrap, not quite as strong, but yeah, a matter of hours, hardly any cost, hardly any effort, and I made what I didn't think would be this good and this useful. I don't know yet because it hasn't been minus 20, minus 30, but I definitely want to find out when it is that cold, how easy is it to warm it up with this little heater. I could put more blankets on to compensate if I need to, although now I've got quite a few. I could probably use one on the back here because that only is one. You know, I could put a few on the inside as well, which will look nice, and then also that adds more insulation. I could also wrap vapor barrier on the outside to kind of close them in, which is an option. Of all things that are not very time consuming and not costly compared to, say, building a wall and putting insulation in it. Also, this is very easy to take down. I can just pull all the blankets off, fold them up, put them away, and pull it apart probably in about the same time if I wanted to. Hopefully I don't have to, because I think this could be useful at other times. Could have it have one opened up here for the summer, spring, and I could just put a screen on it to keep bugs out. That's an option to make it useful for then. But I'm just loving the simplicity, the efficiency, and also destroying my previous concept of how difficult it might be to stay warm in cold weather without what I thought was the appropriate dwelling or tools and equipment. So that's cool. You know, I've just found out new information, and I don't know, it's kind of upgraded my way of seeing things, really, and my sense of limitations. So I'm very happy with that. I am. I haven't spent as much time with my dogs recently, just because I've been so busy running around and like doing errands and seeing people. But also, I had plans for setting up so I could sit out there, you know, with my coat and stuff on, and hang out with them. But they have a tendency to want to do a tug of war with something that's valuable, and it doesn't work so well. So recently, I'm just you know, hanging out with them on their walk, hanging out with them in their field, fenced-in area. But I do intend to rearrange the inside for the winter so that I can have them in more often and hang out. Unfortunately, they don't fit in here. They wouldn't, even if they tried. They couldn't come in here without knocking everything down. One tail wag. So that's unfortunate, I must say. But they'll be fine. And as I get more time, I spend more time with them and things. It's just a few things I'm getting done had to be done. Oh, this is good. It's nice to have a very constantly hot tea. So yeah, I have my ghostcatcher, and I got a second one for a good friend that I wanted to gift this to, who's a musician and very spiritually oriented. I think he'll like it. I think he'll appreciate it. I do. And I just noticed. Oh yeah, it is. It's on the dark one as well. It's just done differently. It's cool though having a little branded design for the wood. Very cool. So the last while this is what I wanted to share with you guys otherwise, is I've been hearing from a lot of people that are having some really difficult times energetically speaking, sometimes manifest physically, whatever. Everyone's different, but everyone has been telling me they're having some difficult challenges at hand, and some of them are a little overwhelmed, some are dealing with it okay, but most of them are a bit overwhelmed by it. And all I wanted to say is you're not alone. There's something going on that I feel is causing a lot of this, astrologically, sun flares, whatever. I don't keep up. Raven was the one that kept up on all the details. All I need to know at the moment, because I'm so busy, is just the general gist of something's going on. Expect this or expect that. Lisa Beretta is an astrologer. Lisa Beretta is the one that wrote Conscious Inc. So she drops me a line every so often and just fills me in on stuff, what to watch out for. But just rest assured that you're not going mad. You're not the only one. It's something that people are having to ride through. And I would say as best you can, don't attach to it. I've been going through some hard stuff myself. Everyone's getting it. If you're not, you're just really lucky, or it's gonna come a little later. And I don't think it's bad. I really do feel I show my gratitude every time I go through something, even if I'm not feeling it at the moment, even if it's a fake it till you make it. But I am grateful when these things come my way, because they spur me on to grow to meet it, to resonate with that frequency without trying to figure it out. Just kind of hum along with it, if you will, without trying and forcing and fearing. And what I find is then it can lift, because usually it's not you, it's stuff that you've held on to and identified or misidentified with. And I just feel it's better to let it release. If it's meant to be part of you, then it'll come back to you. I'm sure of that. But just let it go. Acknowledge. Don't be angry with it. Don't be frustrated. Don't throw it away. Be loving, compassionate in the way that you might, I don't know, a mother bear would chase its bears up a tree, sort of thing. You're not in the business of evicting. You're in the business of, well, the lifestyle and pleasure of releasing. As you shift your identity from thinking it's part of you and therefore protecting it, to realizing as it comes up that it's not a part of you, and you can let go of it. You can actually let it go. We are full of stuff that's not ours. We hear about bacteria and things making up a large percentage of our physical body, but on an energetic level, we are made up of a whole bunch of stuff too, and quite often it's not stuff that's good for us. But we're good at acknowledging that there are certain bacteria and certain viruses and things that are good for us, and certain ones that are not. But why not consider that on an energetic level there could be similar? So that's kind of my suggestion. I had moments today where I felt a little overwhelmed, and I was even paying attention to as I was feeling overwhelmed, and the overwhelm was kind of like, it was just scratching at the surface of fear, and I could feel it building, and that's when I just said, no, hold on. And I just stopped everything I was doing, and I just went into it, and I reminded myself to lean into the thorns, and I'm feeling a lot better already. But it was a good half hour to an hour of this slowly dissipating with a focus. It doesn't mean it's gone, but I am moving it. I'm working with it. And that feels good. But just remember that when something is really intense and abrasive, it doesn't mean that it has got you and it's conquered you or defeated you. It could mean that it's on its last legs and it's death throes, so to speak. Like it's falling off you. Because it was only alive through you. It's a thought form or a belief. And it's finally letting go. So when you feel that stuff coming up, and it feels sometimes so horrible, just say thank you to whoever you want. The universe, the infinite, source, God, Jesus Christ. Doesn't matter to me. It's just that it's what is important to you that you identify with. Show your gratitude and be very clear about it. That's a large portion of it right there. The fact that you recognized it was a large portion as well. Showing your gratitude is almost like a releasing agent. And then, like, it's alchemical what that does. You know, because I used to, listen to Wayne Dyer and other people saying about the gratitude journals and things, and I did them. And I'm sure it did a lot of good, but I wasn't fully embracing it. It almost seemed a little bit not necessary or something. But now, through my experience with Raven, I feel like I didn't have a choice, because I saw that if I went one way, it was downhill, fast. I didn't even want to tempt it. It was not good reality that I would be stepping into. So I only had one option, and that was to not even let negative thinking come in, not entertain it, but not hide either, not pretend. So I did that out of necessity, and I've learned so much so far, and I'm only on the tip of the iceberg. I'm not saying I've done something and accomplished it. I've started something moving, and it's working. It's a rough road. It's not a paved superhighway. It's not the Autobahn or anything. But it is my own path. It is my own individual path that contains my truths that pertain to me only, sometimes peripherally to others. And I think, based on my experience, maybe everyone needs to kind of pursue their own. Let it come out of their heart. Let it evolve. And the best way I can find to have this stuff coming up and acknowledging it and moving it, well, there are a bunch of things. Gratitude, showing gratitude, gratitude journals, journaling in general, other sort of kind of forms of writing, expression, art, sort of an art therapy approach of any kind. It could be just doodling. It could be picking up a ghostcatcher and practicing. I think anything where you're creating, because the creative process, the creative spark, is something very, very special, and not enough people do it, I think, and I think we're all capable of it. Those that say, oh, I'm not creative, I don't believe them. And I do think that one aspect of what I want to do here and accomplish here is to get people who don't think that they are creative, get them being creative, but from a more therapeutic perspective and intention. Little groups, little gatherings, lots of empowerment, lots of community, lots of positive thought, and a lot of unique, original therapeutic techniques that I will find people who do them, including me with the things that I'm working on. I really think that everything going on is an invitation to all of us to evolve, to shift, to let go of some old crap. Um, there's no pointing fingers. We're all part of something, so let's move it. And I'm not talking about physical stuff that's going on. I'm talking about that can whatever. That's not my division. I'm talking about a larger, more energetic aspect of what's going on that's beyond this manifestation of COVID and lockdown and stuff. I'm talking about this other level that I feel is going on, and if you don't relate, fine. I have no problem with that. If you actually feel like listening and you don't relate, that's really cool. I think that's a great trait, great characteristic to be able to listen for provoking thought of things that you don't necessarily believe yourself or share yourself. So yeah, listen on or leave and find something else to do. You're an adult. Do whatever you need to do, but I'm not offended if you don't relate. It's bound to happen. Some will, some won't. But just rest assured that, Damon, who you know has not gone weird or anything, always was weird. That's for sure. But, I'm coming from the same place that you are, even if you have a different view. And that's, I find, is the most important thing I'm telling myself now with everyone is most people, even with a very different view that you might feel like you're in conflict with, ultimately have the same wishes, same desires. They just have sort of invested in a belief of a different way of getting at it or going about it. And that's fine because, diversity is important. We don't want to be a monocrop or a mono belief system. I think the diversity is part of how we can survive any extreme. So diversity of views and thoughts and things are imperative, and especially in a situation like this where you don't know what the hell is happening and going on. Well, if a billion people all do slightly different things and something happens and only 3 of them are correct, or half a billion are correct, well, at least half a billion or 3 survive it to live on, whatever it is. I'm just making a hypothetical situation here. I'm not saying that there's anything that we're not going to survive. I'm just saying this is kind of the intelligence behind that diversity. So I would think we'd want people, honor the fact that people have different views but are all caring about society. Excellent. Imagine if you just had a whole bunch of people that didn't care at all and a few who cared. I'd much rather this. And I love everyone. I don't care what view they have. If they're a good person and I resonate with them, I love them. And if I don't, it doesn't matter if they wear the same clothes, have the same hairstyle or whatever, or same beliefs, I'm not going to relate. So, just things that I think about. I'm pretty sure no one who is going through some tough times, I'm pretty sure you aren't going to go and put a comment underneath saying, hey, look at me, I'm having a hard time. Because most people don't want others to know this sort of stuff. But I know you're out there, I know you're listening, and my heart goes out to you. Just do your best not to make it more of a struggle than it has to be. In fact, it kind of almost doesn't have to be any struggle. So there's some thoughts that I have, little updates, a few things that I'm playing around with. I had a lovely meat pie, little meat pie that I got from Alice's Kitchen in Bancroft, Mennonite ladies. I decided to get their food. Some of it's fresh, made the day of. Some of it's refrigerated. Some of it's frozen. And I've got it for making lunches and things for clients, so that I've got something that's in the oven ready. Because summertime I was able to do a little bit of food prep, but in this in between where I haven't quite got a house yet, and I'm in this little teeny tent building inside the barn, it's just not happening quite the same way. So I'm buying myself time, really, and I really need the time to do other things. So I think it's worth it. She's very fairly priced, and the food is pretty good, you know. Quite edible. It's a happy environment when I go in there. I don't know, I just feel good. I like supporting them. I had something I was going to say just now, and then I had to just finish that thought before I could say it. Oh, one thing about this little hut pod. Oh, I have a name for it. It's a womb. This is a womb, but it's a womb without a view. I couldn't tell. I woke up at 5:30 in the morning, and I had left this light on, so I thought it was daytime outside, and I thought it was much later than 5. And then I realized it was 5 o'clock. And then I went to sleep again, and I woke up a bit later, but it was still hard to tell. Well, there was no way to tell. Hard to tell. It was impossible to tell, except for my clock. And that was a little bit disorienting. And it had me think, because when I didn't have blankets on this far wall, I could see a bit of light in the morning coming through the plastic. So it had me think, what if I found a way, except I don't want to cut a hole in the blanket or anything, but what if maybe on the bit that's still plastic, I could look on the other side, but thinking of finding a way to just leave a little spot with a clearing so that I can see if there's light. Just by that light, I can tell that it's daytime or whatever. Also in here, it's quite muffling. So a lot less sounds. I mean, I can hear sounds, but they're a little more muffled. So these are just little things I'm noting. Not good or bad, they just are what they are, and just kind of going through reevaluations. You know, I do this each day. I kind of look at certain things and I say, okay, so is it something that needs to be revamped now at all, later? Can it sit on the back burner for a while? But constantly, I just sort of reassess things and bring them up to date. It's kind of a process of that everywhere. I have some wood pile stuff to do tomorrow, wood piling for firewood. See how this piece of wood gets in the way. There. I'm pretty comfortable though, and I do have my foot up against the wood, so that's cool. I had my first, I had a few, did I have anyone else in here? No, I had one visitor, a friend who hung out, and we just kind of sat around, we ate a meal in here, chatted. It was really fun, very fort-like. But yeah, it was a pod. I think now it's a womb, or a womb pod. I think it's a womb pod. A womb in a pod, something like that. Let me know what you think. Do you think it's a pod or a womb? A wavelet or a particle? Or is it both? I'm quite happy with my Yeti coffee cup. It's a large, now I don't know what volume is. I think it's something like, let's see it somewhere. I ripped it off. Darn. But it's a good amount anyways. It's a good sized cup, so I can do a really full, little spider crawling on me, a really full, large coffee to carry me through, now that I know it can stay hot. So I can drink half of it before work if I wanted to, and then finish it off while working or something. I'm close to the end of my recording, so I'm going to say goodbye soon. But please, I invite people. Leave me a message, private or not private. Damn, there's some fucking bunch of these little spiders. I just don't want to be. Spiders and bugs have their freedom, but if they start invading my bedroom and my bed, I'm sorry, spiders. I'm warning you now. That's where I draw the line. I don't want to get bitten in my sleep, and I don't want to roll over on them and stuff. So spiders, as long as you keep out of my little zone here, and it's not a lot, you can do whatever you want in the rest of the barn. But that's my one little rule, and I just made it now. So here I am. I am toasty warm with, let's see what the temperature is now. Oh gosh, yeah, it's 80 something Fahrenheit. It's over 30 Celsius. And I have this thing on very low. In fact, I think I'll take that opportunity to even make it lower. I gotta put my foot down here. Let's see, how low can we go where it still stays warm. It seems to hold the heat for a good 20 minutes when it's cold outside. So I think maybe the idea would be put it on my medium heat. When it's hot, turn it right down, and then if it starts to get cool, I'll just slightly turn up the heat till it gets to where it holds that heat. I think that would be good, because I want to minimize the electrical, and I don't want to keep doing the on-off thing either. I like to kind of just keep a consistent, easy heat. But it is absolutely not hard to heat up. Can't wait to find out in the -30s how doable it is. But this is great information for me, because I didn't think it was that doable. I'm sure a lot of people who live up here would, be like, oh, of course, yeah. But I also have a thing for the chicken coop. It's a ceramic plate this size that you put just extended out from the wall or door, and that heats up, and it says it's 9 times. Built-in thermostat, large high visibility on-off display, 2 heat settings, and I think it says it's